Hello everybody. So welcome to JFD's Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Antrauskas, and where we're going to cover a few markets here before the US Open. Just a quick run through the disclaimer, just to mention that we are not offering advice. Everything what you see here today is just pure analysis, and it's just analysis comments do not include any consideration of our personal investment objectives. I hope you can hear me well, because recently I was having some issues with the sound, but yeah, I hope this is okay and better now. So also just a quick mention, I would like to show you our website, JFD Brokers website, where you can actually go and just have a read of everything what we do and of all the analysis that we do. They're also displayed in different languages, as you can see here, and yeah, I think that might be useful. I hope you will find it useful, of course. But anyway, let's jump into the markets and jump into our charts. So the first one will be the S&P 500. Now overall we're really neutral here, and this is the 4-hour chart, and we can see that the price is still going sideways a little bit here, and it's still stuck below this short-term downwards trend line. Of course, it has got some potential to go a little bit lower, maybe to test the 2620 level. Yeah, and maybe if that doesn't hold, maybe we'll go to even the 2600 level. But at the moment, it's kind of going nowhere. Probably is because it's waiting for the US CPI figures tomorrow. Yeah, those are expected to come out lower than the previous one, but then again, if we'll have the same scenario like today with the UK CPI, where it came out slightly higher than expected, not higher than the previous, of course, but still higher than expected, maybe we could get like something like a surprise tomorrow as well. So at the moment, in terms of the S&P 500, we're carefully observing it, and especially carefully observing this trend line here. Any small move, well, actually any big move towards it, and potentially a break of this trend line, could lead us higher towards the 50 EMA here, and even maybe to the 100 EMA. This would actually draw a nice picture of a range. Now, of course, all those traders who love trading ranges, that would be ideal for them. Yeah, but on the downside, yeah, we can see that there is some space for it to go lower. If we start hitting the 2600 and then 2550 levels, maybe, yeah, you could open up the path towards the recent lows, and then maybe we can move even lower, but of course we'll have to see then. On the upside, yeah, as I mentioned, we've got these EMAs running on the top here that could potentially act as magnets for the price. At the moment, like I said, we're staying neutral on this, and we're just going to observe it. Another one interesting that I wanted to show you guys was the gold. Now, gold is at an interesting spot as well. This is, by the way, this is a daily chart. It is at the moment kind of trading into this apex, around this apex formation, within this apex formation, I should say, and I believe that it's waiting for a break. Now, it would be difficult to trade it at this point, as like I said, at the moment it's just going. It's not going to go nowhere. It's not going to go anywhere. If we get a break above one of these levels, I would say yes, but there's a potential entry here. But at the moment, again, this is kind of really, I would say, boring. I would say even like that. So I should recommend you to stay just to stay here and just observe these levels until we get closer to one of these lines, one of these trend lines. Even though the MACD is actually signaling us that it's getting now below the 0 mark, which could be seen as a negative, but before that actually we need some more confirmation until we could see this more as a negative. Even though the trend line is going downwards, we are meeting this strong support level here with this other trend line. So yeah, I'll probably repeat myself again. Until we see a break above or below one of these lines, we're not looking at it. At the moment, we're just leaving it behind. An interesting pair to see that we've covered this morning would be a Aussie dollar. Now, this is a 4-hour chart, and this morning we were trading it around just slightly below the 50 EMA on the 4-hour chart. We had this trend line drawn. We thought that if it's going to hold, then it might go a little bit higher, but we can see clearly now on the 4-hour it started breaking it, and we believe that it's going to close below that. Certainly there is still some time to go, but it is indicating a strong signal to the downside, so could potentially be a potentially be a good position to enter. But then again, you should wait until this candle will close. Looking at the pound now, with today's UK CPI figures, it's still kind of stuck below this trend line, this short-term downward trend line. Again, it's quite difficult to say that if it wants to go lower, because at the moment I can see that it cannot really break this 200 EMA. It's acting as good support level. It's stuck in this little apex formation, if you can want to say it that way. At the moment, it's not interesting. It's really the only interesting part about it is that we need to wait and see if it's going to break something or not. If it's going to break this trend line here, but there is some potential to the upside. Again, I'll mention the psychological 140 level. But if this trend line holds, I think it's opening the path towards the downside. Now, 137,600. We could probably see this as this was the previous low, and if we start breaking this level again, we could go even lower. Euro pound cannot really make up its mind. It's getting closer to this area here that I've got highlighted with the circle. We could see maybe some sort of maybe a move again, maybe a stronger move back to it, but then again, that's already too close. So we need a good break. I believe that we need a good break. If this is gonna hold again, we might get back again and retest this trend line here, maybe around this level somewhere. But at the moment, it's just going nowhere. And of course, USD JPY. Now, USD JPY, again, as mentioned in the morning, broke this long-term trend line that we can see here on the weekly chart. It broke it. The question now on the daily, will we have a close below it or not? If it closes below this trend line, we could see some more moves to the downside later on. But at the moment, we're just observing it, and like I said, watching the close. So let's have a quick look at the USD Swiss franc. Now this is an interesting one. USD Swiss franc. So this is a 4-hour chart. Now somebody could say probably that maybe this is a head and shoulders formation. Could be, potentially, like a small one. So we've got the left shoulder here, the two heads around here, and a right shoulder just around here. Now, this was the neckline, potential neckline. We've broken it. Now it's hanging around this area, and if this proves to be a little head and shoulders, then the next area, the target, probably could be around this area here, which is around 0.92850, maybe slightly lower, something like this. But that's on the 4-hour actually. If you look at the daily, now the daily is kind of really giving us a slightly different story. Now we could start to class this as a left shoulder, could be like an inverse head and shoulder. This is what I'm trying to say. Now potentially, like I said, this could be a right shoulder, and we've got our head here. Now if this goes lower a little bit, bounces up, and doesn't go back to its recent lows of 92,500, if it's gonna bounce somewhere around slightly higher, then yes, we could actually get a confirmation that it could be a potential inverse head and shoulders. But then again, we need some sort of confirmation first for it. At the moment, this is not looking good. It has broken this trend line here, and is on the move to the downside a little. But of course, let's wait and see. Okay, so guys, I hope you get a good US Open opening bell. I hope you make a lot of pips, and yeah, keep an eye on the price action. Bye bye.